Is
So
that your studio?
home studio. Yeah, I'm currently in the process of building one. Me and my wife bought a house last July, and I'm building a 3-room studio downstairs. So this is as nice as it looks. All the rest of the area is like piles of 2x4s and drywall and everything over to this side. So
Oh,
uh,
that's a good project to have during this time.
it is. It is. I've done studio work for close to 15 years,
Oh,
and
okay.
I also run a podcast. So I use the studio pretty regularly. COVID stuff's kind of made things slow. Before COVID happened, I had 2 bands in here last fall that did some demos. Even with the work in progress, it turned out really, really good. So, but yeah, now that I've got downtime, I've been able to start getting everything built and work on getting it finished. So I like it. It's where I spend a lot of my time.
Good. I would
I've
too
actually,
if I had a studio like that.
yeah, I've actually been down here most of the morning. The church that I attend, I'm the sound engineer at. The praise and worship team want to do a praise and worship version of a disciple song. I don't know if you've ever heard of them or not. Um, and it's kind of a hard rock song, so I've been working for the last week on making a worship version of it, so something softer, slower. So I've been down here all morning working on that. That's been my project for today.
Oh, what was the name of the song again?
The song is actually called God is With Us. It's by Disciple.
Okay.
It's off their last album that just came out. No, wait. Is that the last record? I can't remember. It's one of the newer records that they just came out with.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. I don't think I've heard it.
It's a really good song, really good. It doesn't take much work to turn that one into like a church worship song because we do very contemporary music at our church anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some slight changes that need to be made to make it more fitting for that atmosphere versus a
Oh,
rock.
right.
Now, where are you based out of with your show?
I'm out of Boston, Massachusetts.
Oh, awesome. That's really cool. I like it up there. I like Cape Cod a lot. I've been up to Cape Cod 2 or 3 times. Um, and I love the crab legs.
Oh,
Definitely a thing.
yeah.
I'm a big seafood eater, and I eat seafood anywhere I can. And I've had like Joe's Crab Shack in Florida because that's where I'm from, and the crab legs there are good, but crab legs don't compare to anything
And
like
nothing beats New England food.
no, not at all. So I was actually reading an article yesterday about somebody up in the Cape Cod area filmed a 10-foot great white shark that was like in 4 feet of water right by the shore. Did
Yeah,
you
I
see
saw
that?
that. Yeah, it's crazy.
I grew up wanting to be a marine biologist, and so I love sharks, and they've been studying in the last couple of years, seeing where younger juvenile great whites are actually starting to hunt closer to shore in your all's area because of the way that they hunt the seal population.
Hmm.
They didn't know why, but then they started testing a couple years ago and found out that all the sharks that they were tagging are all really, really, really young. So they're getting closer to shore because they're still learning how to, their best techniques for getting their food.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty scary if you're into swimming. Stay
Yeah,
away from the shore.
growing up in Florida, I'm used to swimming on the beaches, seeing different types of sharks there, but I don't want to be in the shark with a great white shark that close to shore. I wouldn't like that.
Exactly.
It's too dangerous.
So your latest single, Behemoth, I have to say it's a killer song. It kind of threw me for a loop when I first listened to it. I thought it was going to be kind of like an electronic, alternative type song, and then the heavy guitars and bass kick in. I'm like, whoa, was
Right.
not expecting that.
So yeah, we've heard that a lot actually. Dustin's really good. Dustin does pretty much all the music writing, and he loves incorporating the synths and different things. And I've heard multiple. I think you're probably the 4th or 5th person that's like, "Oh man, we're expecting some kind of electronic, band or maybe a little more pop with that intro," and then bam, the heavy guitars hit. I think he did a great job with that. He kind of
Yeah.
put your expectations in one area, and then he totally just threw you for in the left field. I thought that was great. I liked the way he did that.
No, I enjoyed that too.
It's really
Yeah,
cool.
I
There's a
know
couple
that's
times like that on the record that you'll see that are like that. That's similar. That's pretty cool.
yeah, because I read you guys are your I wouldn't say mission, but your goal is to avoid the structured formula of music.
Yeah, I know with us, we had some fans ask us a question, or one fan asked us a question, and we wanted to do a video response the other day about the CCM industry, the contemporary Christian music industry. And while I love the industry, and I love what they do, and a lot of the artists are great, I don't listen to it, mainly because it gets stagnant and the same over and over and over again. So I know me personally, and I know Dustin too, and the guys, that it kind of gets boring hearing the same thing over and over again, especially if there's nothing real super intricate in the music to keep you interested. And so we try not to do that.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of music that incorporates intricacies in music, and that's why Queen is one of my favorite bands, is because they put
Great.
so much work into their songs, and like every verse of the song was a little bit different from the previous verse. They incorporate something different into the music, which I really admire.
I love that. And of course, Freddie is one of the greatest vocalists of all times. So I mean, he could just talk, and I love listening to him anyway.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he could just, talk the phone book, and it sounds good.
Oh, absolutely. I would sit down for the 9 hours it would probably take to read the phone book. Great, I'll buy this.
Yeah, so as behind me, the lyric video for your latest single, I heard that you guys might be filming a music video, or you already have filmed a music video.
Well, I can say we have already filmed the music video. We shot it 2 weekends ago, if I'm not mistaken. We went out to Clarksville area where the rest of the guys were, Dustin and Chad are from. I'm in Bristol, so I'm at the very far eastern of the state. They're kind of in the middle, and Jimmy's in Indiana. And we got together and shot. It was a 12-hour video shoot. Shot the video for the next single that should be coming out October 9th.
Oh,
it was
nice.
a long, very, very hot day.
Oh gosh.
I don't know that any of us have ever sweat that much in our life, especially at night. We filmed the story part of the video kind of outside downtown Clarksville, but then the band shots of us performing the song, we shot in like an old warehouse. There's a ministry in Clarksville called Manna Cafe. They actually last year they distributed 3 million pounds of food to underprivileged homes, families, and homeless people. And it's awesome what they do, but the building is massive. I mean, it's like almost like a Walmart-sized building, and it's 2 stories, but they have no AC. There's no open windows, and it was like 91 degrees, even at 9 o'clock at night. So we were on the 2nd floor, so all that heat rising, it was miserable, but it was so much fun. You know what I mean? But in between every take, like I always wear a Godzilla hoodie constantly, every day, and I had it off to the side, and between every take I would grab it and have to like wipe it down, and it's disgusting, but it was like soaking wet by the end of the
Give a towel.
yeah, it was crazy, but it was awesome. It was great to shoot it, and we're excited about it, and it will come out simultaneously with the next single October 9th.
Okay, so it's for a different single, not Behemoth?
Correct.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
So yeah, we're really excited about it. The guy who shot the video did a great job. He works with different artists in the Nashville area. He actually did. It's funny because we're a hard rock alternative band, but he did the video for Darius Rucker's Wagon Wheel. Already did. So he's very, very professional guy. It was awesome working with him.
Yeah, Darius Ruckers. He's kind of country, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I've definitely heard of him.
Yeah, Steven, the guy who shot the video, he because he's in Nashville, he does a lot of country videos, obviously. I mean, that's what he works for a living doing videos, but he's a big rock fan, so he was really excited for us to be like, hey, you want to do our video? And he's like, yes, absolutely, give me something different besides country for a little bit.
To give him a different challenge.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. Good experience. Better than my last video experience, I will say.
Is there a release date for the new album, Monsters and Machines, or is it
we
TBA?
Don't have one. It's TBA still. The label wants, and we agree with them, to release at least 3 singles to promote the record. So we're looking possibly end of the year, beginning of the year sometime to drop the actual album. But we want to get at least 2 more singles in before we do.
Yeah, well, it seems like in general, the industry is kind of moving towards being more singles based,
Mhm.
rather than albums every year.
Yeah, and especially now here with what's happened with COVID, since we're not getting shows, um, I mean, to keep things fresh and going instead of just being stagnant and just dropping a record uh, at once, releasing a single at a time. Even some bands, aren't even in the process of, are finishing a record or waiting for one to release, and they'll release singles that aren't even on the album, just new songs. So that seems to be a new trend that's working pretty well right now.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to jump in and kind of get your history in terms of music. What would you say is, what are the top bands or musicians that really inspired you to pursue music?
Oh man, there's a lot. My father was in a Kiss tribute band back in the
Oh wow,
'70s.
that's fun.
Yeah,
With the
he's
makeup and
always,
everything?
oh yeah, I got a picture. It's packed away somewhere. If I'd have thought about it, I'd have brought it out of him painted up and everything like Ace Frehley in 1976, I think, is when that picture was. So he's always been big into music. The first um, my 8th birthday, the first tapes, because I got cassette tapes back then that I ever gotten, was from my dad. For Christmas, I got Ozzy Osbourne's "Bark at the Moon," and then "Don't Fear the Boys Are Cold." Same album that had "Don't Fear the Reaper" on it. Got both those records for Christmas, and he was a big Floyd fan, and we've been to I don't know how many concerts together. Me and my father have, and when I turned 14, some friends of mine in my school handed me a guitar. I wasn't really interested in playing music before then. I grew up in Florida, so I was a wildlife guy. I was constantly in the swamps or in the ocean, and wanted to be a herpetologist or marine biologist growing up. But then 14, a friend of mine handed me a guitar, and it was all over at that point. My dad went out and bought me one, and he showed me how to play my first couple songs on guitar. So, and he's always been super supportive of me playing and pushing me to do more musically. So I'd have to say he's probably my biggest influence, even though he's not some huge musician. My father's my biggest influence for me musically. Band wise, it would be a band called Living Sacrifice. I've always been a metalhead. I'm a Christian. I grew up in a Christian home, and my mom always tried to be like, "Oh, I don't want you to listen to secular music. Listen to something Christian." I'm like, "Mom, like at the time, like I'm listening to Slayer and Metallica. I'm like, there's no Christian music like this. Like it doesn't exist." Come to find out, it did, and it was kind of hard to find the time before the internet was real big. And but I come across a band called Living Sacrifice, which is a super heavy band. They're A lot of people call them the godfathers of Christian metal. They changed my life because they didn't sing like normal church bands. They screamed most of the time, and they were heavy music, but their lyrical content was very real and very raw. And I felt like I was listening to somebody who I could relate to, who's been through experiences that I've been through, and it's been that way with them my whole life. So, Living Sacrifice is probably my biggest musical influence. All of those guys.
Oh, nice. Did your mom become a fan of them?
No, not at all. She was super glad that I found a Christian alternative to the style that suited me. But no, she was never a big fan of.
Of the screaming.
Yeah. I remember I bought a band called X-Toll, phenomenal band. They're a Christian band too, with lots of screaming. And I bought their Undeceived record and when I was in high school, and came home, and she flipped. She threw my CD away. And I was like, "Mom, it's a Christian CD. I bought this at the Bible bookstore down the road." And she's like, "No, it's not," because the way he screamed, she said it sounded like a demon to her. And she's like, "No, you're not listening to that in this house." And so one of the best actually musical records ever, X-Toll Undeceived. I mean, whether you listen to Christian music or not, musically that record is outstanding. Yeah, so I bought it, fell in love, and she threw it away. I was like, "Thanks, Mom."
Aw.
But she fully supports it now. I mean, she's been around me long enough. Well, she's my mom. That she loves that I am sold out on the music I listen to, but she usually won't listen to it. Even the band I was in prior, I did most of the screams on the record, and she's like, "I love that you're doing this. I don't know what you're saying, but I love that you're doing this. So she's
At
super
least they're
supportive.
supportive.
Yeah, very much so. Which is weird for her because she was a big rock head, like majorly. She went to even when I was in high school, like an hour after high school, she went to like Motley Crue concerts and Shinedown, and I'm like, come on, mom, just turn it up a little bit more, and you're right where I'm at. So, but she
Gosh,
fully
yeah.
supported it. It was
Motley
awesome.
Crue were pretty wild back in the day, so.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I was surprised when my mom said, "I'm going to a Crue concert." I'm like, really? I'm like, I hope you have fun, but that'll be an experience for you, mom.
Yeah,
So
you should watch the movie on Netflix.
yeah,
Get the behind the scenes look at the band.
well, not so much now for her. I mean, both my parents. I mean, they love music. So, but yeah, definitely my dad and Living Sacrifice is my biggest influences.
Very cool. What would you say is the most memorable concert you attended?
Oh man, that's tough because three come to mind instantly, and it's hard to. And they were very different experiences. Um, man, it would be a tie between. You ask a good question, a hard question. Maybe I would have to say two of them because I can't decide which one's better, but they're very drastically different experiences. The first one was the Foo Fighters um, in Thompson Arena in Knoxville, Tennessee. The Chili Peppers opened up for the Foo Fighters opened for the Chili Peppers. That was when during the Californication tour, and that was the first time seeing the Foo Fighters, and they were unreal. I mean, that's probably one of the best concerts I've ever seen. That's definitely the best arena concert I've ever been to. Chili Peppers, I love their music, but live they bored me to death, especially after coming after Foo Fighters. But I remember a spot in the concert where we were in the stadium seating, and they had all the people on the floor, and there were several people sitting in seats, and David Grohl got onto them and called them a bunch of lazy A's and said, how can you be sitting down? You know what? This song's for you. And then they started playing Monkey Wrench, and Dave jumps off stage while playing and singing Monkey Wrench and runs around that entire center area of Thompson Boling Arena, getting everybody standing up. And that was awesome. I thought that was one of the coolest things ever, seeing David Grohl do that. The other one for me is I'm a big Sevendust fan. I've seen Sevendust more than any other band live. I've seen them 13 times. Um, Huge fan. Me and my father, of course, were major concert junkies for a while. We went to see Sevendust at a place called Pierre's in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and actually ended up, it was a great show, phenomenal show, but ended up spending the following 2.5, 3 hours after the show hanging with Sevendust, just up in the VIP room. It was literally just Sevendust and me and my dad for like almost 3 hours, and it
Wow,
was
that's pretty cool.
it was awesome. I remember one thing, of course, we had a few drinks back then and at the time, and one thing that was great is I was talking to LeJean, and he was asking about my band. I was in a Christian hard rock band, and he said something really cool. He's like, man, I'm a PK, I'm a pastor's kid, but let me show you my Jesus. And he showed his like almost like stained glass tattoo of Jesus, and I thought it was awesome. But that was an amazing experience. So getting to see my favorite band, that was the 11th time I saw them, and then getting to hang out with them for almost 3 hours afterwards was so cool, so cool.
Yeah,
Especially
they
with my
put on a
dad.
good show.
Oh yeah, I mean I've never seen a band put on a better show than Sevendust, except 13 times seeing them. I mean nobody touches them when it comes to live performance, in my opinion.
Would you say if you were to put together a dream bill with your band being included, would Sevendust be on that
Oh,
list?
absolutely, absolutely. They would of course be the headlining act in my opinion. But if I put a dream bill of my favorite bands, it would be a varied ticket. But it would definitely be us, Living Sacrifice, and Sevendust, covering a wide variety of genre there for rock and metal. That would be like the ultimate show for me. Demon Hunter would be on there as well. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They put on a
I've
phenomenal
heard of
show.
them, yeah.
But to be honest, I've already played with Demon Hunter. So I've checked that off my bucket list. So now it's just Living Sacrifice and Sevendust. Put those on the ticket.
Very cool. Yeah, I think there recently was, I think last year was the inaugural, I want to say it's called Exit 111 Festival. It's like a
Huh?
rock music festival that they just started last year. I was like, thank God, we need more rock music festivals. There's so
Yes, we
many
do.
electronic ones, DJs and all that.
Yeah, I mean, even when you look at tour or at festivals like Warp Tour has drastically changed over the
Oh, I
years.
know, yeah.
I mean, when I first heard and went to see bands on Warp Tour, it was bands like Helmet. I don't know if you remember Helmet from back in the day. I'm a huge fan of Helmet and huge fan of Page Hamilton. So when you go to back then, it was hard, it was punk rock and hardcore, and now it's way more laid back. You get a little electronic bands and more folk, and I'm like, what happened to Warp Tour, man? Like,
Yeah,
very much lightened up, and so yeah, we need more rock festivals, in my opinion.
me too. Yeah, I agree. I want to say it's called Exit 11, if I'm not mistaken. But they
It
had some
sounds.
really big names on there, like a lot of classic rock bands.
I love classic rock bands. Like, I mean, of course, growing up as a kid, that's who I listened to a lot. Growing up was the classic rock bands because of my father. Then, as I became an adult, I actually started working for a company running sound for bands on different shows and tours, and I got to do shows for a lot of classic rock artists. Like I've run sound for Dokken, I've run sound for John Waits from Bad English, um, Jack White's Great White, Cinderella, and to see not only see those classic artists that I grew up on, but then to be working with them,
Wow.
was such a phenomenal experience. And they still, I mean, they put on some of the best shows, and they're so professional. I mean, I remember with John Waits playing with his or running sound for his band. He had a group open up for him that were kind of, I don't want to say toolish, but they were not like the band, but I mean they were egotistical tools, honestly. And sound check was like 45 minutes, and they got to a point where I told them, I said, all right, look, we're done. That's all you get. I'm not giving you any more because we got this other band to do. John Waits and his band came out, and their sound check was like 10 minutes max. He was like, we're good. I mean, they knew what they
Wow.
wanted. They were very polite, very respectful, very professional. And that was really cool to see, I mean, because you kind of hear about the egotistical rock,
Hmm.
guys, but there's so many of them, especially then. Even Don Dokken himself was a very humble guy to work with, very super cool. Actually, when I did that show, my old lead singer came and did that show with me, and he was on the side of the stage, and he is a massive Dokken fan, massive, probably one of his favorite bands other than Kiss. And between songs, Don walks to the side of the stage and hands him his guitar to hold. And my old lead singer lost it. I'm like, dude, don't faint, don't drop Don's guitar. Like, he was very much fangirling at that point. So, but those guys are really cool to work with.
Yeah, it's always a pleasant surprise when, these big name people that you might be intimidated around actually turn out to be very down to earth and humble.
Yeah, some of them really are. I mean, unfortunately, there's some that are not. I won't
Yeah,
name names
always a
from the
few bad
shows.
apples.
There are. There are. I started out running sound in Knoxville, Tennessee. I did shows for the X 94.3 The X. They did acoustic sessions where the big band was coming through that night, whether it's 10 Years or Nickelback or whoever. They would come in and do an acoustic show privately, and they would air that acoustic show on the radio station, and I would run sound for a lot of those. I've done Sick Puppies, I've done 10 Years, and Presidents of the United States of America. And some of those cats, man, are just so cool, so humble, so fun. But then you do, unfortunately, I mean, there are a few out there, won't name names,
Right.
where, like, how can you be so egotistical? Because these people love you for what you do, but you're such a tool, unfortunately. It happens. But thankfully, not as much as people would think.
That's good. That's reassuring.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, is there anything else that people should look out for aside from the music video and new single?
We're working on some things too. Of course, something that we've been doing is Chad and Dustin have been getting together and doing acoustic covers about every couple weeks of the songs from either the upcoming record or previous albums of the band. And I recently joined. I do want to state I'm a huge fan of this band. Awaken and my band that I was in previously, The Protest, we met in 2012 on a tour together, and I've become friends with them since then, but I've become a huge fan. And their previous records are amazing too. And so they're doing acoustic covers of songs from those records, the new one, and then they're talking about doing some covers as well. Um, And so that's cool to keep a lookout for that, because we'll be doing some of those live acoustic videos and covers. We are talking about trying to do a live concert, possibly. We've mentioned that. Unfortunately, today, I don't know if you saw the news, but Mark Zuckerberg threw a big wrench in their
Yeah,
plans.
I heard about that.
Yeah, so as of October 1st, we're not sure what we're going to be allowed to do, because they're not wanting, it seems, for bands to live stream videos. So I mean, we'll still find a way to do it. We'll switch to just doing it on YouTube and then try to share to Facebook or something like that instead of doing the Facebook live streams. So, but we've got plans. So we, said doing the covers, and we want to try and find a way to do a concert for everybody. And then little things. I think the little things are important. We just did a video. We asked fans to ask us if we can answer any question, and you want to hear us answer it, ask away. And they asked a list of questions, and so we got together at our own homes and we answered those questions in the best way we could possible, put the video together and gave them that. So we're trying to find ways to definitely keep interacting with the fans, because they're, we love music, but they're why we do what we do. So we're always trying to find something for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like bands have to find another way to be creative, getting content to fans with this Facebook change. So
yeah, and we will. I mean, I think it's one of the things that musicians are an intelligent group of people. Not that, a lot of people are intelligent, but it's just that
right.
we've always got to be thinking of what the next big thing is, or thinking of what the next move is to make sure people are seeing what we're doing. So it's just another stumbling block that we will definitely get past.
Yeah, I have no doubt about it. And my goal is to keep supporting bands in any way I can, and just want to see the music industry thrive, throughout this whole coronavirus thing.
Yeah, and I think it's important that it does, because unfortunately, we've seen in the news with the coronavirus that while yes, the disease itself has affected people's health and unfortunately killed some people, there's people that are dealing with stresses and even suicide through this, because it's affecting in more ways than just a disease normally you would think would. Being trapped in your home, for this long, not having a job. So, and one of the best tools to fight that and to fight those struggles is music. That's one of the things that we really push with our stuff is, hey, we want people to know you're not alone. We deal with these things. We've dealt with these situations. We all have our own monsters we face and machines we have to build. And we want you to know you can reach out to us. There's people that's been there or are where you are and have made it through.
Yeah, I think it's important for, the fans to hear that. And yeah, music is always something you can turn to. And, I think it's very important. And yeah, I really support the message in your latest song, Behemoth.
Thank you. Chad does a phenomenal job. That's one of the things I love about Chad is he really tries his best to something that he can relate to, and he wants to make sure everyone can relate to it, because we're all in this together. We're all on the same planet, and I like that about him. Giving a message of hope in dark times is very important.
Absolutely. Well, Chase, I really appreciate your time. It's been a blast chatting with you.
Oh, it was great talking to you too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing the rest of the songs on the upcoming album, and as well as seeing the music video. So
I think you guys are going to like it. So there's some great songs on here. Again, as a fan, I'm still I've told a couple people, I kind of got the Robert Trujillo mentality when he got to join Metallica, which, Awaken's, we're not as big as Metallica, but he was such a fan of the band. That's how I feel. It's like, oh man, I keep forgetting I'm playing bass with these guys. I'm helping the business side of the band now. Because I'm still such a fan. And so getting to listen to the record as a fan, I can tell you this is the best album that the band's put out to date. Every song, top to bottom, is going to be awesome, and there's a couple songs on there that I think are really going to surprise people. And at first, we're going to be like, whoa, wasn't expecting this, but once you hear it, you're going to fall in love with it.
I like the the suspense, having to wait till hear it, but I think it's going to be worth it.
It will be, I promise. Some of the best movies you see keep you going because of long suspense, and that's what we're doing. And we're trying to, give you some, because it's going to be worth it, I promise.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Chase.
You're very welcome.